And welcome to Control Alt Deplete. This is episode 40, 41. I don't know. I've lost track. We'll figure it out
It's
after.
it's it's 40.
It's 40. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so episode 40. We are about 4 weeks into season 4
Whoop
and
whoop.
day 2 into Mop Remix, which we'll get into in a little bit. And we're like 3-4 days away from Cataclysm Classic launch, I think.
Yeah, I think Cata launches in a couple days.
Yeah, it's not too far away. I think it was on the launcher
I think it was the
ago.
20th or 21st or something.
Yeah, somebody had a countdown that I saw just a bit ago. I don't remember where it was at. But yep, we are getting close to that launching. So we got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's jump into it. I am your host, Buckblind, on the left side of your screen, and on the right side of the screen is your other host, Mr. Bioshock. How we doing today?
Good. It's been a good day. We had
Nice.
snow.
Excellent. Can't complain
No.
about snow. Snow's great.
It was
Totally
it was
great.
like flurry, so it wasn't sticking to the ground. It was like a mixture of like rain and sleet kind of, but yeah, it was kind of chilly, so
Nice. Yeah, it's not been too bad of a day for me. I got the laundry done, dishes done, grocery shopping done, and then played WoW for like 30 minutes, and then I was like, I'm gonna stay up all day, and then by the time 1 p.m. hit, I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to sleep. So but we are up now. We'll get some gaming in tonight, get some keys done in a little while, and yeah, get some stuff done. We got a lot to do.
yes.
Not much time to do it, but whatever.
Yeah,
We'll get it done. Anyway, I'm looking at the wrong page. That's why I'm confused here. Okay. So, this week's affixes, we have Fortified, Afflicted, and Raging. Next week is Tyrannical and a couple other things. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But yeah, we'll have Tyrannical next week. I think I want to say... No, we just had Incorporeal, didn't we? I think it might be Sanguine next week.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it might be Sanguine. Oh well, I logged in before we started to look, and then I forgot to actually look. Anyway, so yeah, we have Fortified, Afflicted, and Raging. It's not a bad push week, honestly. It's just a little bit early still. Fort kind of hits hard. It's not too bad though. I think Fortified's easier than Tyrannical, easier in this early in the season, and then Tyrannical's easier than Fortified later in the season.
Yeah.
Just because early on, because everybody's under geared and still trying to gear, damage is just not there, and the bosses take so long to kill on Tyrannical. Whereas later in the season, at Tyrannical, bosses take like 2 minutes to kill instead of 4 minutes to kill, so it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have Twitch drops going on right now. With the launch of Mop Remix, which we're going to get into in a second. We did have new drops that are enabled on Twitch. It is the Eye of the Legion pet. It's just a green floating eyeball. If you've played in Legion, you've seen them. If you're playing Mop Remix right now, on the Horde side, I think, the Alliance side. On the Alliance side, you'll see them early on in the questing in Jade Forest. We saw a few of them when we were rescuing the panda cubs last night.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is going on currently until May 30th. So you have till the end of the month to get your Twitch drop. Just watch for 4 hours on any Twitch stream that has drops enabled, including mine or Bioshock's. We both have those enabled. I'll be streaming tonight and tomorrow most likely if my OBS is going to work properly for me. It's been acting up, so we'll see. But Bio will probably be streaming a lot over the weekend on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So watch us for 4 hours, and you get a new pet. So we have Mop Remix came out yesterday, launched in the afternoon, and I want to give a quick shout out to Chic Runner for him and his team winning the Racer World first. Took them just about 7 hours to get to level 70. I was talking to him yesterday. He said after like level 65, it got really, really lengthy. The scaling's a bit wonky, but little grueling. And once you get the XP buffs and stuff, I think it'll maybe be able to be faster than that. But I don't know. We'll see. He probably be able to do it faster with the XP buffs afterwards. But congratulations to him and his team. I know Permok was helping him. I think a couple other guys were in there helping him as well while they were running that. So big congrats to them. And then yeah, we jumped into it last night. I was playing a demon hunter. You were playing a monk. So real quick, I'll give a quick overview of kind of what Mop Remix is. You create a time running character. Starts at level 10. You can be any class that we have in Dragonflight, including Evoker. However, if you already have a Drakthir on your server, you can only have one per server. So if you have one made and you want to play an Evoker from Op Remix, you need to do it on a different server than your current Evoker. Otherwise, outside of that, there's no limits. You can play any class on your main server as a time runner. Every class starts at level 10. You start over the Timeless Isle. You do the quick tutorial. After the first time you do the tutorial, you can skip the tutorial and go straight to leveling and mop. So that's good. It's basically just regular old WoW, except all your talent trees and stuff are the same. Your abilities are the same. However, you have tons of gems sockets that you get in your different items. You have 4 different types of gems you get. You've got the prismatic gem, which is just stat bonuses. You've got the tinker slots, which the tinker gems are like little passive abilities that you can get. Some are better than others, so look at Wowhead and other guides. Icy Veins probably has stuff as well to try to see what's good for your class and spec. You've got Cogwheel, which basically allows you can only equip one Cogwheel slot, but it basically allows you to have a movement ability from another class. It's like on my Demon Hunter, I could have Disengage from a Hunter. I could have Sprint. You can get Blink. So like you can get movement abilities from other classes, which is really kind of neat. And then you have a meta gem, which is basically usually some kind of a cooldown ability that's an active ability. Usually pretty powerful, like a 1 minute to 2 minute cooldown, somewhere around there. There's many different meta gems, so you have to read through, see what they all do. Again, the guides will tell you which ones are best for your class and spec. But yeah, you get those gems. Just every single quest that you do gives you like a little loot box, and then it's just kind of random what you get from it. There's also, you get a cloak that will automatically upgrade as you're looting stuff. You'll get a threads of some kind of thing. It could be stamina, agility, experience buff. As I know, I've gotten lots of the experience buff ones. But yeah, it just powers up as you go. There are achievements for like getting a certain amount of threads. I was looking at last night. If you get 4,200 threads across your entire account, that gives you one achievement. Is part of the achievement for getting a mount. So it's a nice little bonus. Speaking of mounts, you get bronze that drops from mobs. You get from the quest. It comes in the loot box. You get all sorts of bronze all over the place. I think we've like hit level 22 and we have well over 2,000 bronze already.
Yeah.
But the bronze is used to buy all sorts of stuff. It's used to upgrade your gear. It's used to buy toys. It's used to buy the they have all the Garrosh Hellscream heirlooms. You can buy all those. You can buy the Shoulders of Manaroth. You can buy the appearance.
That's the first time I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I figured. And then you can also right. Well, you can farm it every single day now, even in retail. You can farm that raid as a daily lockout, not just in Remix, but also in retail. So
yeah, I mean, like it's nice, but the drop chance is so low.
yeah. But yeah, that is something to think of. If you don't want to play remix, folks, you can just all of the mop raids, including Siege of Orgrimmar, is a daily lockout until August 19th, and then it'll all return to a weekly lockout. But yeah, mop remix lasts until August 19th. Um, but anyway, back to bronze. You also can buy. There's 41 mounts that, as far as I'm aware of, there's 41 mounts that you can buy with bronze. 30 of them are brand new mounts, and then 11 of them are mounts that are usually pretty hard to farm. And you can get those with bronze. The most expensive one, I think, is the Reigns of the Heavenly Azure Serpent, I believe. I can't remember if that's the right name or not, but it's 50,000 bronze. Um, but it seems like you'll pick up bronze quite a bit, pretty easily. So that's what my plan is, to get this bronze and farm for mounts, because that's what I want. 41 potential new mounts sounds like a fun time to me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we played it for a bit, got to level 22. Go ahead and share your thoughts on it, Bio. What'd you think about it?
It's okay. Not super hyped about it. I think it's a little. I was never big on the mop leveling, at least in the early zones. I mean the system's cool. I like the socketing. Um, the rewards are cool, but I don't know. It doesn't. It's not huge for me, to be honest.
Yeah. I think something that we probably need to do once we hit 25 is try to get into a the six boss raid. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Moshgan Vault or something.
Mogushan Palace or whatever, or Mogushan
Uh,
Vaults.
yeah, one of those two. It's got six bosses in it. Something that's interesting is every raid boss you kill gives you a 12% XP buff permanent. It's permanent. So if you can go and do that very first raid at level 25. There's six bosses in it. So if you kill those six bosses and clear it, you now have 70% bonus XP for the rest of your leveling. So that could speed up leveling quite a bit. But
Yeah.
you got to find a group that can clear it, and whatever. But I don't think it'll be too hard to do. But yes, I think it's interesting. If it wasn't for all the mounts, I probably wouldn't be playing it because I just wouldn't be
I
interested
wouldn't
in it.
either.
But the
Yeah.
mounts and then also the heirlooms, I'm kind of interested in getting the heirlooms as well. Um, but I wanted to try it out, see how much bronze we get, and you get a decent amount of bronze. So I think it's something I will be doing quite a bit of, just to farm that bronze and get all those mounts. Because
Yeah.
it's hard to pass up on 30 brand new mounts.
Yeah.
Um, and then the 11 other ones, you can technically still try to farm those, but it might be easier just to buy them with bronze. Um,
I
yeah,
have a question.
yes,
Is there a site or a link that shows everything you can get from this remix?
yes, it is.
Like
It's on
I
Wowhead.
want I
I
want to see
It's
the
actually in
transmog stuff.
yeah, it's actually in the Discord, our Discord group chat channel.
Okay.
It's in there. I can relink it to you afterwards if you want me to, or whatever. But it should be in there.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I see it.
yep,
Yeah.
and it shows all the different rewards you can get. So that way, yeah, you can look at all that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
mainly interested in, like I said, just the mounts and the heirlooms. I don't think I care about the appearances at all. Um, there's some mounts you also will get just from getting various achievements. I think one of them is like completing 4 dungeons in Dungeon Finder, completing one of the LFR raids, and then that's one achievement, and then you have to do a second one, which is like either get exalted with one of two. There's two different factions that they listed that you can get exalted with that'll count. And then there is another one which I think is the easier to do, which is like kill 3 rares in Veil of Eternal Blossoms. So I'm
Right.
thinking doing the group finder one and then getting the 3 rares will be super easy to get those 2 achievements done, and that gives you a mount. Um, it'd be easier than trying to get exalted, unless they have buffs to rep, but I don't know if they do or not. But
So I'm seeing something here. Let me scroll up a little bit. Right here. So I'm looking at the transmog stuff. So for the Tusk of Manaroth, it's 38,500 bronze
yep,
and 20 bones of Manaroth.
Yes, those drop from
Garrosh.
killing Garrosh, yes. So you would need to, I don't know how many drop from him. If it's one, two, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know.
but again, it's a daily lockout. So, I mean, it's you have 95, 94 days now to get it to do that. So,
Right.
um, maybe check and see how many are dropping, see if it's worth doing. And it probably drops, I bet you it probably drops more on higher difficulties, but like you've got LFR, you've got normal raid, you could do those probably pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I don't know how these bosses are tuned either, because like if Mogshan Vaults is available at level 25, how hard is that going to be at level 70? You're just gonna like steamroll through it, solo it at 70? I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know what their tuning plan is. There's a few things that I didn't have a whole lot of information on it because I just wasn't paying too much attention to it because I was mainly only focused on the bronze.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got anything else to add on that?
No.
I've enjoyed it. I think it feels to me kind of like a combination of um classic Season of Discovery and retail. That's what it reminds me of because it's got the talent systems and everything from now, but like the sockets and everything, especially the like the meta socket and all that stuff, it kind of reminds me of all the various abilities you could get in Season of Discovery and how you can kind of get abilities from the modern game back into classic that you normally couldn't get. Just kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it'll be. I'm curious as far as the experience buff that you get, if it's just for that current character, if that experience buff from killing raid bosses counts, like if that XP buff gets added to any future characters that you make. I don't know, because that could be interesting to see as well.
Yeah.
But no, like I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. I think one of the nice things about it is that you can play through MOP with the current talent system instead of the crappy talent system that we had back in MOP, that they forced us through until this expansion. Because I don't know about you, but I've always hated the talent system that they introduced in MOP. It's one of the reasons why MOP was my least favorite expansion. Was
Yeah.
like MOP to me, the zones are great, the story is great, the leveling's great, no problem with any of that. Dungeons are fine, the raids are fine. I hated the talent change because leveling up felt like you didn't get rewarded ever because you got one talent point every
Every
15
15.
levels,
Yeah.
and outside of that, I mean, half the time you're getting an ability like every three, 4 levels you'd get a class ability. But the problem was you would go for like 5, 6 times of getting the ability. So like 10, 12 levels where the ability you get is like, oh, you now get, some break free of a stun, or here's a stunning ability. It was like all I had a lot of times where I was level up and like for like 10, 15 levels, every ability I would get was some kind of PvP focused movement and parrying CC type ability that like doesn't change the way you play the game when you're leveling. It doesn't feel like you're getting rewarded with anything. Um, I'm much happier with the current talent system where you get a talent point every level. It's way better in my opinion because every level feels worthwhile. I don't know why it took them, 4, 5 expansions to get to that point, but it is a lot better now. So I
Yeah.
really like going through MOP with the current talent system and everything.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway,
Anyways.
say what?
I said
Oh,
anyways.
yes. Anyway, so if you enjoy MOP or you want to just go try it out, give it a try, play it, see what you think. Moving on, we are going to jump into hero talents. We've got 3 that we're covering today. So with that, I will let Mr. Bio take it away.
Cool. Um so I'm doing 2 today. We're gonna cover Hellcaller and Soul Harvester for Warlock, which Hellcaller is the Destruction Affliction, and Soul Harvester's the Affliction Demonology. So we'll start with Hellcaller. Now feel free to put input into this, Buck, because like I'm not super familiar with Warlock, so I'll take any thoughts or opinions I can get.
Yes, well, naturally I am the expert in Warlock since, I use Metamorphosis all the time in my main. That's right,
You
we
guys
stole it
stole
from
from
you. We
Warlocks.
stole it from you. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? That's right. We deserve it, you don't. Get over it.
There's some salty Warlocks out there.
Oh, there are. There are. They were so mad when we got Metamorphosis and they lost it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right,
Anyway,
carry on.
we'll start it right away here. So I'll be looking at it from the affliction point of view. So
All
I'm
right.
hoping it'll kind of track for both, but we'll see.
Looks like it
Uh,
does for the most part.
Yeah. So the very first talent, the first node that you obviously always get, I mean you get them all, but the first one you get is called Wither, and it replaces Corruption, and it is a dot that you put on somebody that does like 68% of your spell power is like Shadow Flame damage immediately, and then an additional almost 300% of your spell power is Shadow Flame damage over 18 seconds. Corruption has no cooldown, so that's 100% uptime. So it's a nice little strength buff to your dot, your corruption. We'll drop down to the left here, and we got.
You said that replaces Corruption?
Yes.
It looks like it replaces Immolate for Destruction lock.
Good to know. So I mean that means corruption, whether for affliction will be instant, and I highly doubt it'll be instant for destruction. Does it say it's instant, or does it say if it has a cast or not?
It doesn't say any cast time on it. Yeah, it doesn't show anything.
I would assume it's gonna be cast for destruction, but I don't know. I haven't done too much research into the Warlock stuff. I do know there's a bunch of content out there on YouTube right now from Alpha, but I have not had a chance to get a look at it. Moving on. Going down the left side of the tree, we have this. I don't know how to pronounce that. Zalen's Ferocity. That is increasing shadow damage with 2% and fire damage with 2%. It's a small little buff, but welcome, of course. Going down, we have the first choice node. We got Curse of the Satire, which is Curse of the Weakness, is empowered and transformed into Curse of the Satire. Is it Satire? Is that how it's pronounced? Or Satyr? I don't even know. I don't think
Yeah,
Satire
I
is
don't
not
honestly,
right.
I honestly don't know. Also, real quick, they do have clarification. Blizzard did say that Wither is instant cast for both Destruction and Affliction.
Ooh, that's nice.
It also, and I don't know, this might be covered in the other talents anyway. They said that Cataclysm and Seed of Corruption will apply Wither as well.
Oh, interesting.
That might be part of it.
Pretty
That might be part
cool.
of a talent we haven't gone over yet anyway. But
Yeah, that's pretty cool because like I know Seed is a huge damage ability for affliction locks and AoE, and this getting that Wither on everybody would be pretty nasty.
yeah.
Moving on. So yeah, we have that choice node, Curse of the Satyr, Satire. I don't know. Increases the time between an enemy's attacks by 20%, and the casting time of all spells by 30% for 2 minutes. Or the other choice, Aura of the Enfeeblement. While Unending Resolve is active, which is your wall, the damage reduction, enemies within 30 yards are affected by Cursed Tongues and Cursed Weakness at 100% effectiveness. That's actually, I can see use for both of those in Mythic Plus. Like, if you're, I don't know, do you think the curse, the first one, would work on bosses? Like, increasing.
I don't know, honestly. I think it does.
That'd be pretty nasty for, like, Tyrannical, and then the Aura of Enfeeblement would be nice on Fortified if you need to pop a defensive.
Yeah.
I don't know which one would be better. I think, I don't know. I don't know enough Warlocks, but it's.
Yeah, I don't know
both
if it works on bosses or
use.
not.
Yeah. And then moving down, we have Marcus Avius. Wither damage increased by 25%, and the cooldown of Cataclysm is reduced by 5 seconds.
Nice.
That's. I didn't think that Affliction Locks got Cataclysm. I thought that was a I'm gonna catac.
Let me take
No,
a
I
look
don't.
here real quick, because I can...
Yeah, I don't see it when I search up the talents for Affliction.
Yeah, give me just a second.
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
will let you know. For Affliction, it says Hellcaller. Affliction. Yeah, it says Cataclysm.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I'm looking at for the Affliction tree. It says Cataclysm, but I don't see it anywhere in the talents, and I'm looking it up. I thought that was just a destruction spell. Like how to spread immolates while now would be wither. I thought
Yeah, I don't know. It might be a...
might just be there just cause.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll continue on.
It may... Yeah, it may not actually even be a... that may only affect 4 destruction.
Yeah. Going down the middle tree, we have Blackened Soul. Spending soul shards further corrupts your enemies afflicted by your wither, increasing its stack count by 1. Each time wither increases, it has a chance to become acute, dealing 45% of spell power, shadow flame damage to its host every 1 second until 1 stack remains. Wither will always become acute after reaching 8 stacks or when the host reaches 20% health. So I guess we'll probably get into it at some point that these stacks or whatever. I didn't see anything about the stacks yet, but I mean, it looks. I don't know. 'Cause I don't really know too much about how they're performing right now, but so far this Hellcolor tree looks pretty good for Affliction.
Yeah, for... I mean, again, with Affliction, honestly, with most Warlock, uh, whether it's Distro, Demonology, or Affliction, almost all their stuff is built around dots and whatnot. So typically, the longer a fight goes on, the better they're going to perform.
Yeah,
This tree definitely seems like it is, playing into that dot mentality. So
yeah,
again, I see this, being something that's good for them and like high mythic plus and on like raid fights, single target could be good. Um, but as far as like, if you're doing low to mid keys, probably just not going to have enough time of enemies being alive for you to get much damage out.
yeah,
But I mean, that's just the problem that locks just have in general.
yeah. Um, Moving on, we have our second choice node. The first one's called Hate Fairy Rituals. Wither deals 50% increased periodic damage, but its duration is 25% shorter. I think that's a great talent. Or Bleak Heart Tactics, where Wither's damage increased by 20%. When Wither gains a stack from Blackened Soul, it has a chance to gain 1 more. I'm assuming Blackened Soul. Do we? Oh, it's right there. I see it. That's just the stacking dot. Okay.
Yes, yeah. I think Black Soul
With
just puts a stack on it is all. Like that is the dot.
with Wither having no cooldown, I think Hateful Rituals will be better. The damage, 50% more damage, and the duration's a little bit shorter, is a bit better for those shorter fights.
Yeah, no, I agree. That definitely could actually help out with those shorter fights.
Yeah. Um, Going down, we have the second, technically not the last of the nodes before the last one. We have Seeds of Their Demise. Blackened Soul damage is increased by 30%. When a Blackened Soul deals damage, you have a chance to gain Tormented Crescendo.
Okay, for destruction, it's a chance to gain Ritual of Ruin,
Okay.
which let me see what that is, because I don't know.
So, we're getting that. So, Tormented Crescendo for Affliction is while Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction are active, your Shadow Bolt has a 30% chance to, and your Drain Scroll has a 20% chance to make your next Malefic Rapture cost no soul charge and cast instantly.
Right.
So, it's just better proc for Affliction for those instant
Yeah, and for
Raptures.
Destro, Ritual of Ruin, typically it's every 15 soul shards. This has a chance to make it just happen no matter what.
Mm.
But it makes your next Chaos Bolt or Rain of Fire consume no soul shards and have it cast time reduced by 50%.
Mm.
So a nice proc on those, especially I mean, honestly, that's a really nice proc if you get that to happen, because Chaos Bolt's your strongest hitting single target spell. Rain of Fire is your, main AoE. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And to have the choice. I always like it whenever they give you the choice. It's one of the things I like about, like, Ret Pally. It's like, okay, you have your Holy Power. You can spend it on your single target or your AoE. Like, you have a choice and not just, okay, well, I've used up all my AoE abilities. Now I can only use single target abilities. I like stuff like that where, all right, you have your spender can be spent on AoE or single target, whatever you choose to do. To me, it makes you a lot more versatile and able to handle more things.
Yeah. Moving on, we have on the right side of the tree, we have Zalen's Cruelty, where fire critical strikes are increased by 10%, and shadow critical strikes increased by 10%. That's just more damage, which is nice. Moving on, we have our third choice node and the last choice node. Zevrim's Resilience, where Dark Pact heals you for 10% of spell power every 1 second while active. It's a little heal. Or we have Ilhoof's Design. Sacrifice 10% of your maximum health. Soul Leech now absorbs an additional 15% of your maximum health.
Hmm.
I don't know if I like that.
I think in like raid or lower keys, maybe Ilhof's Design would be better. But I think as the higher the keys go, you're gonna go more towards Zevrim's Resilience, because sacrificing 10% of your health could be the difference between surviving. Like, having that 10% could allow you to survive a hard-hitting single target spell, and losing that 10% of your maximum health could end up, that 10% could be the difference between you living or dying on some of the big hits.
Yeah.
So I think in the high, like the people that are pushing keys, you're not going to use Ilhof's Design when
Yeah.
you're doing those high level keys. I
Um,
do think it has the benefit though that having that additional just 15% leech, or soul leech absorbing that, might be good to have that extra heal for just, raids and stuff. If you know that, like, okay, the hardest I'm going to get hit is going to take away 60% of my health, then sure, sacrifice 10% and just have extra heal from soul leech. But I do think Zevrim's Resilience is probably the better way to go there.
yeah. Going down, we have another talent which I actually love to see.
Ooh,
Mark of Perethrum, whatever, where Wither deals damage 40% faster. That
I
is
like that.
wonderful. That's wonderful. And Blackened Soul deals 2% increased damage per stack of Wither.
I do like that. That's definitely helps for those shorter fights. Gives them a little bit more burst damage.
Yes. Yeah. And then the very last talent is called Malevolence. It's a 1 minute cooldown, and dark magic erupts from you and corrupts your soul for 20 seconds, causing enemies to suffer from your wither to take 333% of spell power, Shadow Flame damage, and increase its stack count by 3. While corrupted, your active withers are acute. Your haste is increased by 15%. And then for Destro, Shadow Bolt grants 1 additional stack of wither. Or for
Chaos
affliction,
Chaos Bolt for Destro.
what did I say?
You said Shadow Bolt.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I was looking at chaos. I saw like the text for chaos bolt too, and I missed it. Oh, or for affliction, where Malefic Rapture grants 1 additional stack of wither to targets afflicted by your unstable affliction. My thoughts about this tree: I think it has some serious potential. I
Yeah,
I'd have to look more into it. I think this talent tree is, I think it's very good for maybe probably both, but I feel like for affliction, like this dot damage is really nice. Um, there's some like really key talents and increase your damage by a lot. Like the hate, if you're like combining like the hate fear rituals, which are wither deals 50% more damage, with the wither deals 40% damage faster, like stuff like that, like combining, or with Marcus Xavius, wither damage increase by 25%, like straight up, like that's a lot of damage and dot for a one dot wither. I'd have to maybe test it out when beta comes out, maybe, but it looks decent enough. Um,
yeah. So from what I'm seeing on like this the Wowhead review of Destro, at least the Destro perspective of this, is basically, they said they feel like it feels like more for Affliction than for Destro.
Exactly.
And that like you get some extra damage, but yeah, it doesn't seem like it's the best for Destro, but Affliction seems like it's probably in a pretty good shape with that one.
Yeah. I'm actually really intrigued by this tree. I think it looks pretty cool, and I mean, it sounds like pretty strong. Um, lot of damage from one dot, which is cool. Yeah. So, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I think it's again, it's feeding into um the sustained type damage for Affliction for sure. Again,
Yeah.
the Wowhead guide for Affliction says that they think it's an exciting tree, that has a good bit of hidden potential in various settings, but has a few questions with it that will be unanswered until they can test it out. Um, but yeah, I mean, I do think that just from the reading through it, it seems like it has some good potential, especially in higher keys. I think it's not terrible for getting that dot. But I like that they've got the increased damage and the increased speed rate of damage for, I think that helps with those lower keys a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, Still being a dot class, it just depends on how quickly they can get the dots spread out and everything. Um,
I know that
and it's
seed corruption spreads wither to everybody.
Yeah, and the reason that Speed Corruption and Cataclysm are going to be put in Wither is because those typically will also put Corruption on stuff that it hits.
Yeah.
So since it puts Corruption on it, it's going to put Wither on it. So
Yeah.
that tracks. No, I mean
Yeah.
it's not terrible. Definitely not the worst tree we've seen.
I think it looks pretty good. I think the combination of Hate Fear Rituals, the 50% increased damage with the combination of Mark Xavier, which was another 25%, to have 75% more damage on your dot, and then have it tick 40% faster.
Yeah,
It just sounds good.
yeah. I'd say I'd give it a solid B plus probably.
Yeah. All
So
right.
yeah, what's the next talent tree we're going into?
We got Soul Harvester, which is the Affliction Demonology combo.
All right,
And I'm gonna look at it from the Affliction point of view if you want to look at it from the Demonology.
absolutely. Well, it'd be yeah, Demonology. Yep.
All right, so the very first node is called Demonic Soul. A demonic entity now inhabits your soul, allowing you to detect if a soul shard is a succulent soul when it's generated. A succulent soul empowers your next malefic rapture, reducing its soul shard cost by 1, increases damage by 20%, and unleashing your demonic soul to deal an additional 260% spell power shadow damage.
And for Demonology, it empowers your next Hand of Gul'dan, which it does. Looks like it reduces the Soul Shard cost by 1, summons 1 additional Wild Imp, and then also does the shadow damage.
Yeah. Moving down to the left side of the tree, we have Necrolite Teachings. Shadowbolt and Drain Soul damage increased by 20%. Nightfall increased the damage of Shadowbolt and Drain Soul by additional 50%.
For Demonology, it's Power Siphon that will increase the damage of Demon Bolts by an additional 20%.
Then moving on, we have our first choice node. That's between Gorebound Fortitude. You always gain the benefit of Soul Burn when consuming a Hellstone, increasing its healing by 30%, increase your maximum health by 20% for 12 seconds. Or Friends in Dark Places, where Dark Pact now shields you for an additional 50% of the sacrificed health.
I wonder which one.
They both sound pretty good.
Yeah, they both sound decent. I feel like.
If you're wanting to prevent big chunk of damage from hitting in the first place, probably this Dark Pact shield.
Yeah.
But if like you need to heal up, if you have like a dot, like a mad dot on you, or you got threat or something, a
Yeah.
Hellstone might be better.
Yep, I agree with that.
Moving on, we have Satiel's Ambition. I think that's how it's pronounced. Damage dealt by your demonic souls increased by 10%, and consuming Nightfall feeds the demonic entity within you, causing it to appear and deal 160% spell power, shadow damage to your target.
And for Demonology, it is consuming a demonic core that will feed that.
Moving down the middle tree, we have Soul Anathema. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
Unleashing your demonic soul bestows a fiendish entity into the soul and its targets, dealing spell powered damage over 10 seconds. If this effect is reapplied, any remaining damage will be added to the new Soul Anathema.
I always like that whenever they have dots like that, that like, oh hey, if you have a new proc or whatever, it'll just finish on, it'll take all the new damage and then add it to the next stuff. I like that when it does that. So you're not
Yeah,
wasting damage.
yeah. Down to the second choice now, we have Shared Fate. When you kill a target, its tortured soul is flung into nearby enemies for 3 seconds. This effect inflicts spell power damage, shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards every 1 second, deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. Or you have Feast of Souls. When you kill a target, you have a chance to generate a soul shard that is guaranteed to be a succulent soul.
Hmm.
I think Shared Fate looks pretty good for like Mythic Plus.
Yeah, I think it's definitely what you'd want to go with Myth Plus. Just get that extra damage whenever stuff's dying.
Yeah.
Now maybe on bursting weeks you may want to go Feast of Souls just to make sure you don't burst too much, but I don't know. I think even then I think Shared Fate's probably going to be slightly better.
Yeah. Moving on with Quietus. Soul Anathema damage increased by 25%, and it is dealt 20% faster. And Consuming Nightfall activates Shared Fate or Feast of Souls. Moving on to the right side of the tree, we have Demon. What is it pronounced?
Demoniac.
Demoniac Fervor. Your demonic soul deals 100% increased damage to targets afflicted by your unstable affliction.
And for demonology, it's the main target of Hand of Gul'dan.
Moving down, we have our another choice node between Eternal Servitude, which fell domination cooldowns reduced by 90 seconds, and that's allowing you to summon your pet like in like half a second or whatever instead of a long channel. Or you have Burning Rush, no longer deals damage to you, and increased movement speed by an additional 30%. That sounds pretty cool. Oh no, but Burning Rush has a 60-second cooldown and lasts 6 seconds.
Ugh.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. That's weird. It's like a
I
sprint. It's a
yeah,
large
I think in Mythic Plus you might use Spirited Away, but
I would think so.
I feel like even in Mythic Plus, I don't know.
Well, your pet doesn't really die that much in Mythic Plus.
Yeah, the
For
main
for
thing would
Affliction, you
be
don't have a pet doing a lot of damage to
the
begin
main
with.
thing would be with Fell Domination being reduced is that it gives you more uses of like because doesn't Dark Pact like sacrifice your health or sacrifice your pet?
No, just sacrifice some of your health for a shield.
Okay. I was thinking I thought there was some ability where you like sacrifice your pet to get a big defensive on you, but I'm not
That,
sure.
I think it sounds. I think that's from a past expansion.
Gotcha.
Then we have Mantle of the Harvester, where Corruption deals an additional damage 25% faster, and Haunt grants Nightfall. And Nightfall is the one where Corruption damage has a chance to cause like Shadow Bolt or Drain Soul to deal 25% increased damage. And Shadow Bolt is an instant cast, and Drain Soul channels 50% faster when affected. So it's just a little buff to that talent.
Did you cover Mantle of the Harvester?
Uh, Mantle, not yet. Wait, that's one I just got. That's one I was just talking about. Yeah.
Oh, you said okay. So for Affliction, Corruption deals 25% or damage 25%
Yeah.
faster. Like I said, okay, yeah. So for Demonology, it's Wild Imp damage increased by 5%, and Wild Imps that are imploded have an additional 5% chance to grant a demonic core.
And then the last talent for this hero tree is called Shadow of Death. Full Rot grants Shadow Death for 15 seconds. While Shadow Death is active, casting Malefic Rapture always invokes your demonic soul, and your demonic soul deals 10% increased damage.
And for Demonology, it is summoning your demonic tyrant will grant Shadow of Death for 15 seconds. And while that is active, casting Hand of Gul'dan always invokes your demonic soul, and your demonic soul deals 10% increased damage.
My first thought about this tree, it's very passive effects.
Yep, I agree.
I don't see anything that's a new spell that you click. Maybe one ability? I don't know. I don't see a lot of like stuff you can really click. A lot of it's very passive. I don't like this tree that much. I think because of that. It might be good, I don't know. I just don't like the sound of it personally. Yeah, that's say it's not good. It just, as far as playstyle goes, it seems like nothing's changing from your playstyle.
Yeah, I think the thing is like, yeah, I think it depends what you're going for. If you're wanting, so I think it is more powerful. It's what Wowhead's their guide writers are saying as well, is that they think that it's a lot better as far as damage wise. It's probably going to perform better than Hellcaller, but that it is more passive, and so that you don't doesn't really change anything with your gameplay. So like that's kind of a pro and a con, because for some people, maybe, if you like the way that Affliction currently plays, maybe you don't want something to be changing it, so that could be a plus for you. But other people, maybe you don't like the way Affliction plays and you kind of like the way that Hellcaller plays better, then that might be more appealing. um like I think it feels like both of them are decent. I don't think either one's like a bad choice for
Yeah,
Affliction.
I like Hellcaller more personally. I think it's
Yeah.
stronger. I mean, Soul Harvester might be good too. I from my reading of the Hellcaller towns, that the damage a Wither can do, or the potential it has in the higher keys, I think is higher than the Soul Harvester potential in higher keys. Soul Harvester might be better mid to lower keys. I don't know, but I think the longer the fight goes on, I think Hellcaller is gonna be stronger for Affliction.
Yeah, it just depends. Like I said, the guide writers are saying that it is probably more that Soul Harvester is a bit more powerful. But I agree. I think in Mythic Plus, I think Hellcaller has possibly more potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, we'll see how they're playing. It'll be interesting to see if Affliction is going to make a comeback, because I feel like Affliction has not been good for quite a while.
I think I was watching someone's part of Limit, and he's now one of their main tanks. He used to play Warlock back in Legion, and he was very good at it. I remember watching him all the time. And he played Affliction, yeah, in Legion and I think BFA, and he did very well on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like also you get just about instant pet summons with this one, which is just something they noted. It's like just fun from a class perspective. Because once if you get Eternal Servitude, and then Fell Domination and Fell Pact, it basically you get in near instant pet summons, with Fell Domination being a 30-second cooldown.
I think that has really good potential for PvP, where you're playing a class where your pet's being killed constantly.
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah.
can move on to the next coverage.
All right. So the next one we are covering is my personal favorite, my expertise, the Fell Scarred hero talent for Demon Hunter. I will be tackling this from a Vengeance perspective, and Alex, of course, will chime in for anything Havoc related that he has in thoughts.
Yeah.
Uh, right away, I mean, the expectation is that it was going to be better than Eldrachi Reaver, because Eldrachi Reaver was clearly geared toward Havoc, and
Yeah.
with Vengeance. Honestly, the Eldrachi Reaver hero tree, Vengeance felt like an afterthought whenever you look at the way they designed that, making us just be like, oh yeah, the primary ability is an ability you never use.
Yeah.
Starting off with Fellscarred, we have Demon Surge. Metamorphosis now also greatly empowers Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb. While demon form is active, the first cast of each empowered ability includes a demon surge, causing you to explode with fell energy, dealing fire damage to nearby enemies. I'm assuming for Havoc that's empowers something else, right? Is it like
Yeah.
Chaos Strike
So
and Blade Dance?
not even that. It just increases your health by 5% and armor by 20%.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so good. That
Yeah.
is for Havoc. Yeah, I'm looking Havoc. That's the right one. Health and
Yeah,
armor.
Metamorphosis. That's got to be a mistake. It's got to empower abilities because it says Wall Demon Force is. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, I know why it's that way because when you go into Metamorphosis, you already are empowering
Right.
Blade
That's
Dance
true.
and Chaos Strike. That's why. Uh, but it says the first cast of each empowered ability will. So you get that part at least, the Demon Surge. Um, No, I really like the fact that it empowers Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb because the first cast of each ability means you get to use it on both, and
Yeah.
those are your two main abilities. I mean, you typically your typical standard rotation, um, outside of just other stuff that you're casting, on cooldown, typically is double fracture and spirit bomb with 4 or more soul fragments, and then you dump any fury that's saved up into your soul cleave. So like right there, it works excellently, I think. Um, Going to the left side, we have our first choice node, Wave of Debilitation, which will cause Chaos Nova to slow enemies by 60% and reduce attack and cast speed 15% for 5 seconds after the stun fades. Or Pursuit of Angriness, which just causes movement speed to be increased by 1% per 10 Fury. I think on Tyrannical, honestly, I probably maybe would take Pursuit of Angriness. Um,
Yeah.
but I do think on Fortified, Wave of Debilitation, it also depends on the affix. Like Sanguine, you do not want to take Wave of Debilitation. I guess it shouldn't matter too much, as long as you time out your Chaos Nova properly. But like
Yeah.
the reducing of the attack and cast speed for 5 seconds is really nice defensively. It honestly makes Chaos Nova not just a CC, but almost a defensive ability as well. So that's kind of nice. Burning Blades is the next talent. Your blades burn with fell energy, causing your Soul Cleave, Throw Glaive, and auto attacks to deal an additional 10% damage as fire over 6 seconds.
Yep.
And for Havoc, that would be Chaos Strike and
Yeah.
Throw
Chaos
Glaive.
Strike, Throw Glaive. Yeah.
For the next talent, we have Untethered Fury, which just increases your maximum fury by 50. I'm assuming it's the same for Havoc.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely really, really nice. That honestly. I actually have changed my Vengeance talent build a little bit to always take Unrestrained Fury, no matter whether I'm doing defensive build or offensive build. Because one thing I've noticed is just even that 20 extra Fury, it's really, really nice. It's just
Yeah.
nice to have that, especially to build up um, frailty stacks on enemies when you're leading into like getting ready to do a hunt or whatever. It's really nice to build that up. Moving on to the middle section, we have Focused Hatred. So Demon Surge, which is whenever your first use of an powered ability, deals 35% increased damage when it strikes a single target. I always like stuff like that takes it. All right, it's an AOE thing, but if it's only one target, we're gonna make it be stronger so that it doesn't cripple you in single target. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. For And this one, I'm curious what Havoc does here. So the second talent, Violent Transformation. Um, when you activate Metamorphosis, the cooldowns of your Sigil of Flame and Fell Devastation are immediately reset. Havoc already has this with Chaotic Transformation, where it resets Eye Beam and Blade Dance. So what does it do for Havoc?
When you activate Metamorphosis, the cooldown of your Sigil of Flame and Immolation aura are immediately reset.
Interesting. Okay, so you're gonna get as Havoc, you're gonna get You want to basically pop Sigil of Flames and Imla Aura and I-Beam and Blade Dance, all 4 of those in a row, and then you hit meta, and then you can pop all 4 of them again. That's honestly that's kind of nice right there. Um, Nothing huge. I don't know that this is the tree that Havoc's gonna want anyway, but that's not bad, honestly.
Yeah.
So then let's see. The next talent choice is a choice between Student of Suffering. Sigil of Flame applies Student of Suffering to you, increasing your mastery and granting 5 Fury every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. It's kind of a resource generation there with a mastery buff. It's not terrible. It's just passive because you're just going to get it with Sigil of Flame. The other option is Flame Bound. Immolation Aura has a 2-yard increased radius and 30% increased critical strike damage bonus. Honestly, it's kind of a tough choice. I think I'm going with Flamebound personally,
Yeah.
but that's not. I mean, I like both of those. Mastery is the weakest stat for us as far as Vengeance. So like I don't know that that's great, but the Fury's kind of nice. But I do think I like Flamebound better. Yeah, no, I think Flamebound is my choice there. Moving to the right side of the tree, we have 2 talent choice for another node. Set fire to the pain. Shout out to Adele. Requires, 5% of all non-fire damage taken is instead taken as fire damage over 6 seconds. Fire damage taken reduced by 10%. That's not bad. The other option is improved soul rending. Leech granted by soul rending increased by 2%, an additional 2% while metamorphosis is active. I don't know. I'm thinking the improved soul rending is probably a little bit better.
Yeah,
Just,
it ends up giving you 7%, or what's it?
our leech is a bit higher.
I'm checking right now.
We have an addition. I think we have like
It's a 10.
20%. Well,
So
that's
it's 10% out of meta.
well. I think we already, as far as vengeance goes, we already have leech. So I think that maybe bumps us up to 20% leech. I'd have to double check and
So
see what our starting leech is at.
for Havoc, you have Soul Running, which increases your leads for 10%, and then an additional 10% while in meta. So it's 12% out and 22% while in.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Vengeance maybe gets another like 5 or 10% that we just is a passive that we start off with just for being Vengeance. I'm not 100% positive on that, but I'm pretty sure we get something like that. Um, I mean that's not awful.
Nope.
I think the problem with, and it's also going to be situational. You know, if you're facing a raid boss that does a bunch of fire damage, then I honestly feel like Set Fire to the Pain is better if you're facing something with fire damage than without fire damage. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I think I like the Soul Rending better because it's just going to work in all situations, and it's going to be based off of your damage. It's just extra healing that you're going to get. Moving on, the second talent on the right is Enduring Torment. The effects of your demon form persist outside of it in a weakened state, increasing maximum health by 5% and armor by 20%. I mean, as a tank, I'm never going to complain about more health. We already have one of the biggest health pools out there. So,
For Havoc's a little different.
gotcha. What is it for Havoc?
Demon form persists out of the weakened state, increasing Chaos Strike and Blade Dance damage by 5% and haste by 3%.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And then let's see. So the last talent on the right is Monster Rising. Agility is increased by 5% while not in demon form.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not a bad talent at all.
Yeah.
Um, and the final talent is Demonic Intensity. Activating Metamorphosis greatly empowers Fell Devastation, Immolation Aura, and Sigil of Flame. Demon Surge damage is increased by 10% for each time it previously triggered while your demon form is active. So you've got your, so that's what? That's freaking Spirit Bomb, Soul Cleave, Fell Dev, Immolation Aura, and Sigil of Flames. That's 5 abilities. So I feel like the way you're going to want to do that is probably you start with Immolation Aura, then Sigil of Flame, and then you're just naturally going to do Spirit Bomb and Soul Cleave, and then you're going to want to finish it up with Fell Dev because that's your strongest of those abilities. So if it's empowered and you're getting 50% or 40% increased damage to whatever your empowered Fell Dev is, I definitely think Fell Dev is going to be your final ability in that rotation there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting, I think, because Fell Dev does a lot of damage. I definitely love this tree from a Vengeance perspective. I think it's so much just, leaps and bounds better than the Reaver tree. I don't know that Havoc. I don't know if Havoc would go for this tree, honestly. I feel like it's a bit underwhelming for Havoc. That's just my personal opinion.
I can see some play in PvP with it, I think. But I don't. I think the Reaver tree is just better for Havoc.
Yeah,
even for PvP, I still think it's better.
Now, looking at the Wowhead guide, they're saying that this tree actually probably is a bit better than for Havoc, just because it's more fitting to the Havoc Demon Hunter theme, and it appears to be much less frustrating than the implications would compare to the Eldrazi Reaver tree, just because it's not going to be such a weird rotation. Because I agree, I do think the Eldrazi Reaver is a bit overly complex. I definitely think it's way better for I think Vengeance is a no-brainer. You're taking Fellscarred all day long, no matter what the situation is. I don't see any scenario where you are going to take the Eldrazi Reaver for Vengeance. I could see it potentially for Havoc. If you're running the Throw Glaive build or something, I could see it maybe then being good. I do think this one has potential. Especially, because that's a good point. They say that with the Reaver tree, Metamorphosis is essentially turned into a proper AoE cooldown because you're getting all the Demon Surge. So for Havoc, that last talent, what does Havoc get? For that last time, Demonic Intensity. What are the extra ones that it gets?
Activated meta, it greatly empowers. Why is it showing? Hold on one sec. There. Activated meta greatly empowers I-Beam, Immolation Aura, and Sigil of Flame. Dream Surge damage increased by 10% for each time you've previously triggered while your demon form is active.
So, from a Havoc perspective, you're probably gonna use I-Beam last in that order. So you're probably gonna want to. Honestly, I feel like so my thought there would be single target. You'd want to save maybe Chaos Strike for your second to last, but in AoE you'd want to hit Chaos Strike first. Then you would probably want to use Sigil of Flame or Immolation Aura, one of those two, then Blade Dance, and then wrap it up with an I-Beam, because I-Beam's going to do the most damage out of all those.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's interesting, is it kind of makes you need to play your meta phase in a certain way. Just as far as a certain rotation, it kind of makes it put it in a certain order. If you're running Essence Break, you're probably obviously going to want to hit Essence Break at the very start and then hit your Chaos Nova and Blade Dance. Or maybe Blade Dance and then Chaos Nova. I don't know. I'm curious to see how that affects the rotation. Because it definitely, I think there's going to be a very specific rotation during Metamorphosis with those empowered abilities. I think it's going to, like, you're going to want to optimize it in a certain order so that stacking increase of damage is doing the most damage it can.
Yeah.
I definitely think for both Vengeance and Havoc, your Feldev / I-Beam are the last ones you want to use, just to get that extra 40%. But like, it's a good point that, like, since each time you use those empowered abilities, you get your Demon Surge that's going to do AoE damage. It does make your Metamorphosis an actual AoE cooldown, as well as just, you know, the offensive damage that you get. No, I do like this a lot. I know
Yeah.
for Vengeance, from what I remember reading, the review was very favorable. Um, Obviously, the compared to the other tree, it's definitely favorable. But I think just overall, I think this one is pretty well liked for Vengeance. Um, yeah, no,
Yeah.
their statement on it is that overall the design of Fellscard is fantastic and looking significantly more appealing than Aldrachi Reaver. Unless they are tuned, this is what I was saying, unless they are tuned to an absurd point, I can't see myself ever recommending Aldrachi Reaver over Fellscard if the design and implementation stay as is.
Right.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It also says it's a lot less restrictive on talent choices, which I agree with as well. No, so Aldrachi Reaver made me go, ooh, I don't know if Vengeance is something I will play in War Within if this is what I'm dealing with. But
Yeah.
this tree makes me very excited to play Vengeance in the next expansion. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't. Hey, I'm trying to sit here and think, like, is there any scenario where I would be like, I want to use Aldrachi Reaver, and I don't see any reason to ever use it as Vengeance. I just don't. I mean, Fellscard is better for Mythic Plus. It's better for Raid. It's better for PvP. If you're even if you know, I know as my elite PvP as my Vengeance DH, getting Gladiator every single season of that. It'd be better for that. Questing to be better for quest. Like, I just don't see anything where Aldrachi Reaver is better for Vengeance. Like I said, I can see Aldrachi Reaver potentially if you are playing a Glaive Toss focus build for Havoc. I can see that potentially being a play. Um, but I also think, like, I think Fellscard is an easier build because I think Aldrachi Reaver is much more complex. So it just kind of depends on what skill level the player is at. I mean, if you're like, this is too much stuff to keep track of, I think you'll want to go Fellscard regardless as Havoc.
Yeah.
But no, it makes me very, very excited for Vengeance. I look forward to when beta comes out and getting to test that. Definitely excited for that. Any other thoughts you got on that?
No.
All right, so moving on, tell me a little bit about your week in WoW.
Mm, got my legendary, my DK, the legendary axe, which is cool. Um, did the mop remix, and that's really all I've done. I haven't done that much. I finally able to solo Battle for Desire Lore, so I've done that a couple times on my Death Knight. But yeah, that's about it.
Nice. For me, mainly working on professions, getting some quests done. I've got 5 out of the 11 professions maxed out with profession knowledge now. So that's nice, big plus. But yeah, other than that, got a few keys done. I think I've got 4 keys on my Vengeance DH done so far. So I need to get another 4 done tonight and then work on the priest, get it done. And try to get whatever I can as far as my alts done. I might work some of those tomorrow when the kids are up or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Want to try to get some mop remix in at some point, but that'll probably be during the day next week, probably. Next week's the last week of school, so after that it'll be summertime, and I'll be able to sleep in the mornings and get up in the afternoon, and that'll be
Nice.
nice, really nice for the summer.
Yeah.
get some sleep on my work days, be able to get up and have energy. Can't complain. But yep. So yeah, give us your thoughts, guys, on the hero talents, the Hellcaller, Soul Harvester, and Fellscarred. Give
Yep.
us your thoughts and let us know what you think on those. Um, Let us know if there's any talents, whatever talents you want us to cover next. Give us suggestions. I will probably be covering Discipline Priest next episode.
Yeah.
After that, probably Resto Druid. Don't know what Bio's going to cover.
Well, it just depends. I'd like to cover Deathstalker when they finally come out with it.
No, they're scrapping that from the game. They said they're really happy with the
So,
Trickster, and they're just going to make Trickster the only hero talent tree for Rogue.
so
All three
I
specs.
think I'll either cover the Rogue tree if it's out, or I might cover some Hunter stuff.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, I think that's about going to do it for us.
Yep.
Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel on YouTube at least. And that YouTube channel is Buckblind the Demon Hunter. You can also hit me up at Twitch, or at Twitter, at BuckblindDH. And you can catch the stream on Twitter or Twitch. Getting those backwards. Catch the stream at Twitch at twitch.tv/Buckblind. We'll be on there tonight, tomorrow night. Usually Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays is when you'll catch me streaming. One of those nights. Not a guarantee, but usually I'm on. Bio, what about
Yep.
yourself, sir?
QQ_Bioshock for Twitch and YouTube.
Yup. And you're like a 50-50 shot to stream just about any night of the week.
Yes. Yeah.
And videos, you haven't put up any videos yet, but I think when beta comes out, you need to be putting up some Devastation
will.
Evoker videos and some Assassination Rogue videos.
Yeah.
I think definitely give some good breakdowns of those classes and how to play them properly.
I would love to play more Assassination Rogue, and I think I will play some more this season. So yeah, I'm hopeful that that Deathstalker will be a good tree for them. I'm hopeful.
Yep, we shall see.
Yeah.
So with that is gonna be it. So everyone, have a great week, and we will see you next time.
See ya.